Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and Dog TV.
Well, hey there, Kristen.
Hey, Chris.
Welcome back. Another week, another episode of the PAL podcast. How's it going over there?
It's going. I'm looking forward to the long weekend ahead. Do you have any plans for Labor Day?
Nope. And that's the best plan.
That's true.
My brother's birthday usually falls around Labor Day, but he doesn't want his nerdy older brother around. So I think still, as always, no plans. But that's always great for the long weekend. What about yourself?
Well, we have a winery crawl planned for the weekend.
Okay.
I've got family coming into town, and we're going to hit 3 or 4 wineries in the area, and looking forward to that. And we're bringing the dogs.
Classy version of the pub crawl. Yes,
Yes.
It's classy because it's wine, of course.
Exactly.
But for our wonderful listeners, we have a great show lined up for you guys. Some really exciting guests. Kristen, have you ever wanted to talk to your animal? And I don't mean just talk at them. I mean, talk and be heard, understood, and hear and understand them.
Like psychically?
Yeah, a little bit of a link.
Heck yeah. Because sometimes talking to them doesn't get the desired result.
No, it really doesn't. Well, you're in luck because we're going to have a guest who's going to be able to walk us through some of that awesome stuff. And we're going to be talking about important tips for eye health with your animals. So keep it locked in. Don't touch that dial, as they used to say. And let's get into this episode of the PAL Podcast.
Kristen and Chris present Storytime.
Let's get into it. My story, and we were just joking in what I assume Ron cut, but maybe he didn't. Maybe you guys heard all of that. Who knows? Who knows nowadays? But I tend to talk about animals who come to the aid of their owners and their people, and today is no different. So I'm going to stay on theme with that. I have a story out of Indiana where a woman was having a bit of a rough day. She was sort of just on her couch, not feeling great, suffering from a migraine, and she wanted to go down for a nap, as people do when they have a migraine. Well, she's got this beautiful husky. I'm trying to find the name of the dog. Luna. There's a picture in the story of this beautiful husky who just would not let this woman sleep. The woman's name's Samantha, actually, would not let Samantha sleep. Just nudging her. And huskies do that, right? They're high energy dogs. So Samantha gets up and says, okay, Luna here needs to be walked, goes out and takes Luna for a long walk to try and tucker her out so that she could finally get some rest. When she comes back home, the carbon monoxide alarm is going off like crazy. So she stays outside. She calls the fire department. The fire department located a leak in her water heater that has since been replaced and everything is fine.
Wow.
When she sat with the fire marshal and explained what happened, the fire marshal said, if you had fallen asleep there, it would have been, game over. So yet again, a dog has come to the rescue. They have those sensitive senses and they know when something's wrong. Got Samantha out of the house and kept her calm. And at the end of the day, the only true damage done was a water heater needing to be replaced. So pretty happy ending to that one.
That's awesome. Way to go, husky pup.
Yeah, way to go.
That's a good story with happy ending. And mine is actually, I wanted to relay a story that I came across ever since I mentioned that Seatmate product a couple weeks ago on the show. I'm getting all these Kickstarter notices.
You're getting stalked by Zuckerberg.
I am. So I discovered this Kickstarter campaign, which by the way is over. So I'm not suggesting anybody donate, although you still can. It's all about a dog adoption success training program. And what really got me was I played the video and this woman tells a story that is very similar to a story from my childhood that almost had me in tears. She was talking about how when she was a little girl, her family had adopted a black lab, and the black lab was nutso. Like he would chase cars, kids, animals. He was a handful. And I guess the family had several kids, and it was a busy family. And this woman, as a child, she said, I used to love how happy my dog was when I would come home. So she said, I would literally come in the door from school. He would get all excited. And then she would go back out the door and come in a couple minutes later, and he'd be all excited again. Like she said, I would do this over and over again because I just got so much joy from his joy. Fast forward, her parents decided to surrender this dog, or they said that they had found a great home for him. Hopefully that is the case. But she was talking about how devastating that was in her childhood, and how she remembers the day clearly. And, this woman's like, full on adult now. But so very sad story. I had a similar experience as a kid. And I can also remember the day when my family surrendered my Cocker Spaniel. But what she did is she created a whole program designed to prevent pets from being surrendered to shelters or, just given up due to behavior problems. Essentially the bottom line was her family just really didn't know how to manage this dog, and didn't, I guess, have the time and the resources to do so. So if you want to check out, let's see, let me find the URL here. It's doglifeinc.com. They have a dog adoption success training program. It's an online course. So I guess if you are considering adopting a dog, this might be a really great training program to purchase. It's pretty inexpensive. I don't have the prices up in front of me, but when I looked at it before, it was like, I think $35-$45 or something like that. But it tells you what to expect in the first 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months with your new dog, and how to, manage the challenges that come along with that, and how to set you and your dog up for success for a forever life together. So check that out over at doglifeinc.com.
That's amazing. Knowledge is power, huh?
Absolutely.
Knowledge is power. But it's always sad when a family has to surrender the animal. So trying to prevent that, always a good thing. So great story there, Kristen.
Thanks.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
Okay, our guest is a very special treat. I'm excited to talk to her today. So joining us is Laura Stinchfield, an internationally renowned pet psychic and people medium. She's got decades of experience in animal communication, telepathy, and mediumship. Now, Laura has been a comforting voice for those who can't speak for themselves, which is the pets, of course. And she offers her really unique services to animal owners, trainers, veterinarians, and rescue groups, as well as people that are seeking to connect with a loved one in spirit. And that includes pets who have gone over the Rainbow Bridge. Now, Laura has been featured on numerous media outlets, including the Ellen DeGeneres Show, also Good Morning Texas, and she's the author of Voices of the Animals and Stormy's Words of Wisdom. Welcome, Laura.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is the first time we've had a pet psychic on the show, so we're really excited. Can you can you explain the difference between pet psychic and medium? What are the differences between those two?
Well, there isn't much of a difference. Like a medium channels spirits. That's sort of how I think of that. And a pet psychic talks to animals. So, but like in my title, Laura Stinchfield, the pet psychic medium, the medium really means talking to deceased people.
Okay, gotcha.
But it could be talking to deceased pets as well.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of that, can you tell us how you discovered your unique ability to communicate with animals and how it's evolved over time?
Yeah, so ever since I was little, I just could hear them. I just knew what animals were thinking and feeling. And it wasn't until my early 20s that I was studying dog training and animal training. And my teachers were saying to me, Laura, what are you doing? The animals are coming along differently with you. And, that was before the internet. So I didn't have any concept that there was animal communication out there, besides like Dr. Doolittle and like Snoopy, like and Bambi, So, so I started to really think about it, like, what am I doing differently? And at the time I was really shy. And I heard about this woman in California who taught animal communication, and I went and I studied with her, and that was my jumping board to just start doing it professionally. There's lots of like little stories I had that were pretty profound to me early on. So one was when I was in my early 20s, I had a cat named Juliet, and I was backpacking a lot, and I would leave her on the weekends and my sister would come in and take care of her. Well, every time I would come home, Juliet would take a look at me and then she would just like take off, and she'd be gone sometimes like overnight. She'd be so mad that I was gone. And it really worried me. Well, someone had given me a book on animal communication, and I had read about sending the animals how long you'll be gone by picturing the sun rising and setting. So my next trip, I sat down with Juliet and I sent her, the sun rising and setting for as many days that I'd be gone, and then picturing myself happily coming home. And when I arrived home on that trip, she met me at the front stoop. She came in and she stayed. And then that night she slept with me and she was kneading, and she wasn't really a cuddly girl, but she slept with me all night. And I just knew like, wow, there is really something about being very clear about what we're saying to the animals. And that's really the easy part. Anyone can do that. So like anyone can just be really clear about what you want to say to your animal, and your animal will get it.
That's absolutely amazing. I don't think I'm a pet psychic, but I do firmly believe that we communicate with our animals in many, many different ways.
Yeah.
And obviously, Laura, your skill is used to help a lot of pet parents out there who may be having issues with a variety of animals. What is sort of maybe some of the misconceptions about your abilities, and how do you sort of get past that to sort of show like this is the actual work that I'm doing, and here's sort of the results of that?
Yeah, I think actually just watching it and watching the animal change is really the best way to sort of deal with a skeptic. There are some skeptics that are just, there's nothing you can say that's ever gonna convince them, but that's just in life with anything. And then it's just really the proof is in just hearing what they have to say and then following through. It just really is phenomenal how much our animals know about our lives and how much they talk about like just daily stressors that we have in our life. Like they know things even about like our money issues or our relationship issues. And when people hear that, what their animal are saying, there's no way I could have like made that up, like they just say things that I couldn't know otherwise. So really the proof is in just listening to what the animals have to say. But like you said, that we talk to our animals all the time, or we communicate with our animals all the time. I think if people like slow down and they start to kind of listen to their animal too, so be really clear about what you're saying, but also just take that time to be silent. Like in a day where like Instagram, just these reels are so fast, and like just we are constantly bombarded with information. It's hard for people to just settle themselves, but if you settle yourself and you just are patient with your pet, you will hear them. There's no doubt in my mind. You may think it's coming from you. You may think that's your own intuition that's saying it, but it's 100% them talking to you.
That's interesting. That's great advice. We all need to slow down from time to time.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Laura, I know one of your specialties is connecting with animals in the afterlife. And I'm wondering if, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but are you able to help me connect with my dog Chili, who passed away about 3 years ago?
Sure. Do you have Chili's picture?
I can find one on my phone.
I was gonna say you have your phone right there.
Yeah.
And I know you as a pet parent. You got a million of those.
He was just such a wonderful like Labrador mix that we adopted, and unfortunately at age 11 he developed hemangiosarcoma, which is a super aggressive cancer. But my husband and I think about him and talk about him all the time, like, and it's been almost 3 years. So let me just trying to find a good picture. Here's a picture.
Look,
Of
Look at like
Kristen,
Ron's got
Laura-
him up on.
Oh,
Ron has
Ron beat me
pulled
to
up,
it.
Yeah,
your
it's
YouTube
cool.
channel.
Ron,
To
you're
one of your
amazing.
videos of Chili. For those
There he
of
is.
you
Yeah. Oh,
watching,
is that
there's-
him? Oh my
That's
God, he's
him.
so cute.
That's him. Oh my
how
gosh, I'm
cute
gonna
is
cry.
he? What are you
Oh,
gonna?
yes.
What is that? Oh, it's a calming aid. I thought
Yeah,
it was ice cream.
he was he was a working dog. He reviewed products, so we were reviewing some palmy treats
real
there.
tough work there. Real tough work for Chili.
Different kind of working dog.
Was
But
he
he was
young
just
when he passed? He looks so
he was
young.
well in this video. He's probably 6 or 7, but
Yeah.
excuse me, he passed when he was 11. And he just
he's
was so
cute. Look at him.
Look at those eyes.
Oh my God. Yeah, really beautiful. So what do you want to know? What do you want to know about him?
I just want to know, his last months were really stressful on us because he had surgery to remove the mass, and we were told that it would definitely come back, and so it was kind of like we just didn't know what day it was going to come. When was it?
Right.
So I guess I just want to know that he's okay, and that maybe he's hopefully with some other family dogs who've passed on. And that I'll see him again. I hope I can see him again.
Oh, you 100% see them again. Yeah, 100%. Okay, let me get him. Hold on.
Yeah.
What did you say? His name is Chili, right?
Chili.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's cute.
He's a doll. Let me get my Kleenex ready.
He says sometimes he comes next to you and he like bumps your hand to pat him.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Like if you're sitting in a chair, he'll flip your arm up to pet him.
Yeah. Yeah. He says he's with you a lot more than you know. He says sometimes he races to the door before you.
Aww.
He's saying something about when he got to heaven. What was she doing? Oh. He said when he got there, he saw a woman who was on a pool raft.
Yeah.
And she was telling me to come in the water.
Okay.
And she said that she knew you from long ago. Do you know who that would be? I mean, it's got to be someone who likes the water.
Yeah, I had a friend who passed who loved the water and was
my God,
sun worshiping goddess.
It's got to be her. It's got to be her, right? To be on a pool raft. That's so funny. Did he like the water?
He didn't like to swim, but he liked to stand in the water and we used to throw toys, and he would stick his head in the water and pull them out.
Oh, cute. Because it's interesting that she's by the water. Because sometimes what happens, so when people come in from the other side, when they talk about people from the other side, it's for two different reasons. It's one, so he can say hey, she's with me, I'm not alone, right? But then it's also your friend coming in to say that she's here, with you, and she knows what's going on, that she's going to greet him. But there's also something about the water, for her, and water means emotion. I always think there's more symbolism to it too.
Yeah, true.
And maybe if he's a little bit nervous, she's showing him, look, it's really good, it's okay. Oh, wait, he's saying something. Oh. He said that she also told him that when he was going to eat, that he wasn't going to have a bellyache.
Aww.
He said that she made him a bowl of cut up steak meat.
Oh, I used to. She and I used to cook steaks on the grill all the time.
Oh, you did? Oh,
we did.
Yeah, that's.
And I wondered too.
So
one of his favorite things to do was we used to take him to the beach, to Honeymoon Island in Florida, and he wouldn't go in the water to swim, but he would run up and down the surf. He just loved the surf.
Oh, how fun! Isn't that so nice? Yeah.
Oh, Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I wish my husband was here.
He says sometimes he wants to be a puppy again.
Oh.
Don't we all?
He was always
I mean, that might mean that he might come back to you one day.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that would be wonderful. We're considering adopting a puppy soon, so maybe
You
that's how he'll come
were?
back
Oh
to
my
us.
gosh. Yeah, so if he does come back to you, there'll be like signs and synchronicities. Like you might find him on like the day of your friend's birthday or your husband's birthday or something. I mean, it could be just like little things that happen that you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, you made my day.
Oh, he says sometimes he gets in bed with you and he kicks you and rolls over.
Oh yeah, he was a bed hog. He was a total bed hog.
Aw, so cute.
Oh gosh, thank you, Laura. That was really
Oh,
wonderful.
my pleasure.
That's
Yeah.
an amazing skill. Oof. I'm just,
You know what,
hold on,
I
I'm
don't-
just beating back the tears.
You are. Oh, that's so
Back to tears.
sweet. Oh my
So-
God, that's so sweet, Chris.
But before we wrap up here, Laura, talk to our audience real quick. All these pet parents out there who are
Yeah.
trying to communicate better with their animals, and they might not quite have the gifts or intuition that you have, but for the common folk out here, the laymen who just want to connect more with their pets, do you have any advice that you can give them?
Yeah. So the first thing is when you talk to them, you want to make sure that you talk in the positive. So, like, let's say you want to tell your dog not to bark out the window, right? So you want to tell your dog to be quiet instead of don't bark. Because if you say don't bark, you're actually going to picture them barking and you're going to have that feeling in your body of them barking. So you always want to match the feeling in your body with what you're saying and what you want them to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say, when you bark, you give us all a headache, or like I always tell them, like, the smartest dogs are quiet. Because it's actually true, they are. The smartest dogs do watch. So that's the first thing. And that's really easy. If you can starting to pay attention to really just how you think in general and how you think about yourself, that will translate to the way you communicate with the animals. So it's all about paying attention to what you're thinking and feeling at any given moment. And you can just kind of check in with yourself during the day. Like, how do I feel in my body? And how do I, like, what am I thinking? What am I visualizing? Or what am I hearing? Because if you start doing that and you start to really know your own thoughts and the way you think, then if you're kind of hanging out on the couch reading a book or scrolling through your phone or watching TV, and all of a sudden you start to have a pain in your shoulder, or all of a sudden you have like a visual of some park or something, that could actually be your animal sending that to you. And then you'll be able to say, oh, wait a second, like, I haven't had a pain in my shoulder all day. Like, what is that from? And then you turn and you look and your animal's staring at you, So it really is all about becoming quiet and knowing yourself so that you understand when something else pops in.
Fantastic.
If you start doing that, it goes a long way,
Laura,
Absolutely.
this has been fantastic, and I so appreciate you helping me to reconnect with Chili. Where can
my
our
pleasure.
audience find you or follow you?
Yeah, thepetpsychic.com is the best place to go. That's my website. And you can find me on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. Just Laura Stinchfield, the Pet Psychic, and I'll show up.
All right.
Excellent.
That's amazing. You definitely found a new follower here.
Yeah,
Thank you
nice.
so much for joining us today. This was truly eye-opening, possibly even third eye-opening. So thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast, Laura.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Pets add life.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll be honest with everybody out there. We had to towel off after that one. We had to, we had to take a quick rain check, grab
Kleenex is
some
mangled.
tissues. Yeah.
That was really so sweet. It was just so sweet, not only to see his face again, but I really do feel like she helped connect me with him, and everything she said did have meaning. Like, I was putting the puzzle pieces together in my mind. I can't wait for my husband to hear this show.
Yeah, I've never even met Chili, and I'm a wreck over
you're in
here.
love.
I'm an absolutely emotional wreck. I thought that was absolutely amazing, and Laura has definitely gained a true believer in me today.
Likewise. All right. And now it's time for our next guest.
All right, so we are joined now by Dr. Adam Cherry, the CEO and Director of Product and Innovation for Peteyez. Peteyez is a leader in pet eye health. Dr. Cherry is a board-certified optometric physician, I hope I said that right, with over 3 decades of experience. The brand's origin is deeply personal, stemming from vision loss in Dr. Cherry's family, inspiring him to significantly improve pet eye care. Dr. Cherry leveraged his expertise in eye health to create FitEyez, a vitamin gummy lime for human ocular wellness. Seeing a lack of such products for pets, he expanded his focus to develop specialized eye care solutions for animals. He's doing really important work. So thank you, Dr. Cherry, for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you, Chris. That's a great intro. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So let's jump off with some background information. You have a great slide pulled up for the people listening. It's a slide of some different eyes and of animals and some of the issues. So if you could just give us a backgrounder on some of the issues that we should be looking for in our pets, some things that might cause alarm and warrant a visit to the vet.
Great. So thank you again for your time, and it's nice to meet you all. So I've been practicing for 31 years, and with humans get to say, my eyes bother me, I want to go to the eye doctor, and get to have some correction. Animals don't get that luxury of doing it. So I feel like I've become a spokesperson for animals to help them with their eye health. And, it's often just kind of brushed aside when your animal has an eye problem, because the cost of vet care is so expensive. The cost of medications are so expensive. But there are steps that animals need to take, just like humans need to take, when it comes to protecting their eyes. And obviously the number one problem that we see in both dogs and cats are cataracts. And cataracts, of course, are an aging, there's many types of cataracts, but it's an aging problem. And some animals get them earlier and later, and some are induced by drugs or trauma and things like that. So we want to do as much as we can to slow the formation of cataracts down. And there are science-based studies on the nutrients that we've included in the Peteyez products that actually do that. Dry eyes and ulcerations, very common. Allergy, red eyes, runny eyes, things like that. Big issue. Actually, tear stains is a huge issue for a lot of the white and small dogs, and was initially our initial focus on the Peteyez, because it eliminates tear stains. But that happened to be a side effect or an accident of when we discovered the product. It wasn't our main goal to set out and cure tear stains, but it does help that. So cherry eye is very common, which is the third eyelid that prolapses, and it is inflammatory in nature. Glaucoma, high pressure inside the eyes. You see that with a lot of Chihuahuas and other dogs with bulging eyes. Uveitis is inflammation in the back part of the eyes, and more common with golden retrievers and such. And then, of course, humans protect their eyes with sunglasses, and dogs and cats, they go outside and it's super bright. And if you ever looked at a dog or cat, they have very large iris or black parts of their eyes, and light penetrates their eyes really good. So they have lots of issues that can happen. So.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that with the sunlight. So, Dr. Cherry, it just so happens that September 18th through 24th is Pet Eye Health Week. So I think this is great that we're able to educate our listeners on the importance of eye health for your dogs and cats and other pets. What are some of the things that pet parents should be looking for just on a regular basis to make sure that they're not missing any potential eye condition?
And that's a great question. And I think, it's a lot of things are self-evident when you look at your animal. You can see them wincing or squinting funny or having their paw going to their eye. But I think you have to look at the eyelashes and the hair growth around the eyes and make sure that those are trim and clean, of course. I think you should look at the eyes and make sure you're not seeing a blue hue or white color, or there's no redness in the eyes, or a little cherry thing popping out towards the nose section. And then, of course, an excessive amount of tearing or mucus buildup. Just kind of observe and look at those things.
And I would imagine just because we talk occasionally about senior pets and some of the conditions such as cataracts that you mentioned are an age-related condition. So as our pets get older, it's important to make sure that our vets are taking a look at their eyes as well, right?
Exactly. I think the main point here is that there's a lot of synergies between human anatomy and physiology of animal eyes, right? So
Yeah.
the components are pretty much all the same. And everything's about our diet. So it's about our diet for animals too. And we are seeing a shift towards a lot of fresh meal plans that will carry a lot of the nutrients that they need. But we know that the cost of that's very expensive, and people generally can't afford that right now. But the nutrients and what we eat, it reflects our lifespan, reflects inflammation, how we react, how we get diseases and sicknesses. And I think that if you're deficient in certain nutrients, which a lot of kibble and food is, and a lot of the times our bodies do not synthesize or make the nutrients we need, they need to be substituted. And so Peteyez is an all-natural, freeze-dried functional treat that has 18 vitamins and minerals that most of the time we don't get in our kibble and or food. And so inflammation is the biggest cause of disease. And if we can control inflammation by reducing it by taking Peteyez and or nutrients that carry, that have those nutrients, food that has the nutrients in it, we can reduce the incidence of eye problems and other medical problems. When I'm talking about an eye problem, for example, let's say diabetes, it doesn't just affect the eye, it affects the whole body, right? When we talk about arthritis, it doesn't just affect eyes by causing dry eyes and things like that. It affects the joints, the muscles. The nutrients that we use are not just, the product is aimed and geared towards eyes, but it does have other systemic benefits for the body of the animals. So that's important to know as well.
I was just going to say, I'm glad we're talking to you today because there are so many supplements on the market, but I don't think we hear enough about preventative maintenance for eye health. So this is great. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was going to bring up a similar point that there's a lot of supplements on the market, very few tailored specifically towards eye health. A lot that are really not geared towards anything. They're just called health supplements. But I would imagine that beyond the product, there's also some care that may be required, upkeep, and other good routines for an animal to keep their eyes healthy. So beyond the product and beyond just checking your animal's eyes every now and again, are there other healthy habits that we could get our dogs and cats into that are going to help maintain the longevity of their vision and eyes?
So it's a great question as well. And, you do have to look at the history and the incidence of different types of conditions that affect different types of animals. Short nose animals, that's called brachycephalic. So their nose is short, and so they don't have the long channel for tear ducts. And then compare that to other animals that have bulging eyes, such as bulldogs, right? Things like that. They're more prone to other conditions. So I think it's just awareness of the common conditions that could happen, regular visits to your veterinarian. And if your veterinarian isn't comfortable with an eye condition, then there are veterinarians that specifically work on eyes. Unfortunately, I had a customer call me the other day that thought she was having a reaction to taking Peteyez and shared a picture with me of the animal's eyes. And it wound up being what's called a hyphema, or blood, in between the under part of the cornea and in front of the color part of the eye. It's a hyphema, and it's usually due to some type of systemic condition or trauma. And it's a pretty serious condition. An allergic reaction to not just to Peteyez, which is almost impossible to have because it's all natural ingredients, but to food per se, would cause a reaction in both eyes and not just in one eye. Unless you touch that eye with specific product, then it's allergic to that eye. But I think you need to take a look at that. But regardless, the veterinarian that this patient took their dog to wasn't trained in specific eye conditions and treated the dog for an eye infection. And the hyphema is not an eye infection. It is a more serious infection. And unfortunately, the animal will have to have the eye removed and will never see out of that eye. but it's the early recognition and detection is the most important part, and getting to the right professionals, I think, is the moral to the lesson.
Yeah, that is a great lesson. One other question about in terms of maintenance, how important is it, or is it important to use like an eye wash in your dog's eyes when, let's say, they've been, playing at the beach all day, or, just when they've been kind of in an area where there's a lot of dust or dirt? Is that something that's important to do?
I think that's something that's very important to do. In fact, we actually launched a product called Peteyez eye and ear wipes, and I know your viewers can't see this picture on the radio here, but it's eye and ear wipes. It has hypochlorous solution and deionized water. There's nothing else in it. It's an all natural product. But just like we wash our hands and feet to get rid of the microorganism bacteria that are around there, I think taking the Peteyez wipes and cleaning around the eyes and the ears will rid it of any of the microorganisms that they may have. And it actually is refreshing to the animal. Animals love getting baths as much as people don't think they do, because they're proud. They're proud. And animals show them being proud, by the way, when they get a bone, right? Or they get a treat. They walk around with it in their mouth and they show it off to you. They have different ways of expressing their feelings. And so, who wants to go out looking, with their hair disheveled or nasty tear stains coming out of their eyes? I mean, humans don't want to do that. They get themselves all pretty and get their hair done. Animals want to feel the same way. So we want to take care of our animal eyes, because it's important, and it gets expensive too. And to be honest, a man's best friend. It's true. People love their animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And as we know, it's less expensive to prevent health issues, including eye issues, than it is to treat them. So maintenance is important.
And I want to add in about Peteyez, because a lot of people say, well, how do we know it works? Well, the reason we know it works is there are hundreds and hundreds of studies and science-based. So the nutrients we use have science-based evidence. You can read the studies about the astaxanthin, about the lutein, the zeaxanthin, these nutrients that we place in the product. Astaxanthin is 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C. It's the strongest antioxidant on the planet. It's not only good for dogs, it's good for humans, but it's very expensive. It's $1,000 a kilo. It's a nutrient that a lot of brands don't want to put in it because it adds a lot of cost. So I think it's important, though. It's the difference between early cataracts, early inflammation, early eye disease versus not getting anything at all.
Absolutely. And Dr. Cherry, we are coming up on our time here, so I just want to remind our viewers and our listeners that Pet Eye Health Awareness Week is September 19th to the 25th. So you'll be getting this episode right around then. And this week is dedicated to raising awareness about common eye problems in pets and educating pet owners on how to identify symptoms early to ensure their pet's eye health. So Dr. Cherry, I'd like to ask for all of our listeners back at home on their morning commutes or listening in the kitchen while making some breakfast, where they could find some of these resources like this amazing infographic that you showed us, as well as some of the Peteyez lines of products. Where can they go to find out more?
Thanks. So you want to make sure that you spell it properly. Peteyez, it's Peteyez, like zebra. So go to peteyez.com. We sell our products through most independent pet retailers. We have a store directory on our website. You can also purchase our products on Amazon, on Chewy, and you can also go direct to our website. And the other thing we offer is a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you find it's not helping your pet, we give a 30-day money-back guarantee. And to the time of this recording, we have never given a refund for anyone who has claimed it has not helped their pets. So thank you for listening, and it's peteyez.com.
Thanks again for joining us and for the education. It's been a really informative experience. So be sure, everybody listening, to check on your dog and cat's eyes. Remember, it's part of being a responsible pet owner. And if you need a little help, go to peteyez.com.
Thanks, Dr. Cherry.
Thanks, guys.
Pets add life.
Eye health is important, and it's very important to pay attention to. Turns out, your animals can't really just come up and tell you in plain English that their eyes are bothering them or their vision's blurry. So it's really up to us to stay vigilant. So thank you, Dr. Cherry. That's some great information. What do you think, Kristen?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. And I think it's so important that we remember that eye maintenance is as important as some of the other maintenance we do for our pets. If you think about it, as our pets age, a lot of times the first thing to go is their eyesight or their hearing. So I think if we can pay more attention to the maintenance and some of these supplements that are available for their eyes, I think we might actually be able to prolong their eye health.
The product of the week.
All right, Chris, it's time for so I'm butchering it. Product of the week.
Okay, Flava Flav. Product of the week.
There we go. There we go.
Do you want to go ahead and kick us off?
Oh, sure. So my product of the week is a safety product for dogs that enjoy those long-lasting chews, like a bully stick or one of those Himalayan cheese stick things. This one is called Tall Tales. I guess the company is Tall Tales. It's a bully stick holder. And the reason this is important is because if you have a dog and they enjoy these chews, they'll often get down to like just the little nub is left, like maybe just an inch of this chew is left. And I have talked to veterinary surgeons in the past, like our friend Dr. Courtney Campbell, who let's see. And I've talked to people like our friend, Dr. Courtney Campbell, who is a veterinary surgeon, and he has had to remove these little pieces of chews that can cause a blockage. So the bully stick holder allows you, it has a hole in it that you put the bully stick through, and then it has this screw mechanism handle that tightens it down so that you can't pull the bully stick out of the holder. And then that way your dog can safely chew on it on both sides, and they're not able to get to that last remaining little piece that they can swallow, and that could potentially become very dangerous. So, and I know there are several companies that make these, but I just like the design of this one. So Tall Tales bully stick holder, check it out. Comes in about three sizes at least. So that is my safety tip.
That's a great product. I'm actually picturing the dog sort of looking like a very dignified woman from the 20s with like their cigarette holder. You know, like
the filter,
I could just see,
right?
Yeah, I can just like sort of see it in my mind, right in my mind's eye. But no, that is great because, those bully sticks can get dangerous when you get down to the nub, and dogs don't know that they shouldn't be trying to swallow those types of things. So,
exactly.
Great recommendation.
What's yours?
My product is also in the theme of animal safety, but it's more a preventive thing. So essentially the brand is called Leash, and they make these stairs that just lead up to like your bed or whatever, couch or anything. And the reason I want to talk about it is a lot of people don't know that you can extend your animal's life significantly if you're willing to admit that they're old sooner. So especially with larger cats, or if your cat or dog is a little pudgy, a little round, and may have a lot of weight, you want to avoid them jumping up on everything because it's going to give them arthritis real quick. So especially with your older animals, your animals who may be a little out of shape, or any breed of animal that may be prone to issues with their bones. I also highly recommend this for cats. Cats spend their life jumping up and down on things, and they will continue to do it until there's no cartilage left and it's grinding bone on bone. So it's literally just a foam set of stairs. They come in all sorts of different colors that it'll match your aesthetic. They look really nice, and you just slide it on up to the thing that you want them to get on. I plan on getting one of these for Tiger pretty soon because she has started climbing onto the couch. She doesn't jump up onto it anymore. She'll put her paws up and lock into it, and then just sort of pull herself up. And it's like, okay, you don't want to jump anymore, which is fair as a 21-year-old cat. Oh my goodness! So this is something I plan on purchasing for Tiger. It comes in a color that matches our couch perfectly, and it'll fit the little corner where she likes to get up onto the couch. I don't know what it is about the cat, but she only gets onto the couch from one side and then exits the couch from the other, no matter what. It's very
Interesting.
strange behavior, but it'll work for her. So
Yeah, that's
that
good for the
brand
bed too.
is- She
Sorry.
really doesn't do the bed, and luckily our
Oh, yeah?
bed, this is embarrassing, but I'm going to say it anyway. Our mattress doesn't really fit our bed frame. So on one side of it, there's just like, there's already a step. There's a whole,
okay.
I'm not going to throw my wife
Let's
under
not
the
go
bus.
there.
but
We
there's
don't
a
wanna
whole
talk about your
debacle
bedroom.
That goes into the, there's a whole debacle that goes into that bed frame that I still hold her accountable for. So I won't get into that, but no, and I typically don't let Tiger sleep with us because I'm still highly allergic, and she will also
Right.
start biting our hair out of our heads at about 3 a.m. asking for food. And I don't have hair to spare. So no, that usually doesn't happen. But the brand is Leisure. Go ahead and look them up. MSRP is around $50, so it's not going to break the bank either. And maybe I'll let everybody know how it goes when I finally get mine.
Yeah.
Ugh. I feel like my product of the week always devolves into personal story time. This reveals intimate secrets about himself that he shouldn't be saying on the internet.
Q&As.
All right, Kristen, it's time for our favorite part of the show. That's right. We're going to answer 2 questions from our wonderful, beautiful, and handsome listeners.
Wonderful, beautiful, and handsome.
Wonderful, beautiful, and handsome, all 3 at the same time. And if you want your question answered on the show, you can head on over to petsaddlife.org/podcast. Scroll past our wonderful, beautiful, and handsome faces. Go on down to the bottom of the page. You'll see a form to submit your question. Or if you'd like to, you can leave us a voice memo and we will play your question live on this show. So
Indeed.
without further ado, why don't you read me a question there,
All right.
Kristen?
Okay, this one is from Maria in San Diego. Maria says, my cat, who's only 6 years old, has started bumping into things around the house. I suspect he might be losing his eyesight. What could be causing this, and what should I do?
Well, it's a great question, and hopefully you've been listening to the whole episode because we just had Dr. Cherry on to talk about ocular health. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about a few other things, but the most important thing I got from Dr. Cherry is pay attention. Know what your animal's eyes should look like and track those changes. You will see some cloudy color changes in the size of the pupil, some dilated pupils, and obviously that number one sign being bumping into things is a red flag. So sit the cat down, try to get some eye contact with it, see if there's any inflammation, because it's possible that they're not losing their vision. It's possible that there's just some type of infection or virus or irritation in there that's going to need to be cleared up because they're just maybe watery or dry or something like that. If you can't see any obvious signs of infection, look for that discoloration. If you can't see any of that, it's time to go to the vet. As we always suggest here on the PAL podcast, you shouldn't be taking advice from just me, some idiot in a polo shirt. You should be going to somebody who has went to school for a very long time to identify, like a Dr. Cherry, to identify these issues and diagnose your pet. Because, I don't want to say they're definitely losing their vision, but if they are, it's okay. Cats have very strong senses. Otherwise, they can navigate with their sense of sound and their sense of smell. And with the proper care, your cat will still lead a very happy, fulfilling, and long life. So don't fret.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to your point about the importance of seeing the vet, this question reminded me of a cat that my veterinarian used to have many years ago. And this cat had a neurological disorder that caused her to be just kind of clumsy. So that just made me think,
Just a little silly.
just a little silly, like, because she would bump into things and like trip over her own paws and things like that. So just another
could have
reason why
nothing to do with
your
the eyes.
veterinarian is so important. But good answer. And thank
far
you for
more
the
important than I
question.
am. Great question. So I've got a question here for you, Kristen.
All right, let's hear
This
it.
question comes to us, Tom from London. I believe this is our first international question. So thank you, UK Tom, British Tom. I shouldn't be giving our listeners nicknames without their permission, but alas. And it's taking all of my strength to not read this question in a British accent. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, go for it. No, come on.
No, I'm not going to do it. It's just offensive. All I'm going to do is offend people. All right, I'm getting
be
nods. No, I'm not doing it. My dog barks at everything. My dog barks at everything outside the window, and it's becoming a problem with the neighbors. What strategies can I use to reduce his barking and keep him calm?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is not uncommon. I'm going to give some advice that's just kind of really super simple, and that is, close the curtains. I don't know. I mean, obviously your dog is seeing things outside that's triggering him. And obviously the barking is now annoying the neighbors. So you've got kind of two problems. And, I have heard of cases where dogs get so excited about what they're barking at, they actually go through the window or break the window. So I guess my first step would say, maybe close, if you have blinds or curtains, kind of close that, and then work on maybe some training or counter conditioning for your dog to reward them for being quiet and for not barking. If your dog has been doing this for a long time, you might need to hire a trainer. You might need to see your veterinarian about maybe working with a veterinary behaviorist. But if it's a newer problem, I think it might be easy enough for you to solve on your own. Maybe now, I don't know if this is happening when you're home, Tom, or when you're away. If it's happening when you're away, I would suggest maybe crating your dog or limiting their access to the room that has that window. So those are just some suggestions, but you definitely don't want the neighbors angry with you.
Definitely not. And, sometimes the dog can just be bored, understimulated.
True.
So there's dog TV out there. To give them a little distraction. There's all sorts of other toys and interactive stuff that we've talked about on the show. So sometimes it just could be a case of understimulation and they're looking out the window because things are interesting out there.
He's looking to be entertained. So that's a great follow-up to that.
Aren't we all? Hopefully our listeners have had their entertainment satisfied.
That's right. And if they have, that means our show is a wrap for the day. Although I still think it would have been more entertaining if you'd read that question with a British accent.
It would be offensive, right? Like I'm just such an in tune guy, I'm very empathetic. And it's our first question from the UK. So how about this, Tom? You got your question answered. Why don't you go ahead and hop in the comments? All right. Hop on Instagram or TikTok. I think we have a TikTok. I wouldn't know. I'm an elder millennial. It scares me. So hop on Instagram. Let us know in the comments if I get permission from somebody from the UK to do my horrible British accent on the show. Maybe I will. But I'm going to need our
Or Tom, you can send a voice memo of your question in an American accent.
Yes, there we go. So if we get a British person to send a voice memo in their best cowboy Western American accent, then I will do it. Thank you to our guests, Laura and Dr. Adam Cherry, for coming on the show. We got Labor Day coming up. Which is going to be great. I can't wait for some days off. Going to be absolutely amazing. And as always, folks, if you like what we're doing here, give us that 5-star review. Don't be stingy. It costs you nothing, and it means the world to us. So go ahead and drop us a review, some comments on what you think we're doing well. If you think we need to improve, give us 5 stars anyway, and let us know what we can do to make the show better. Kristen, anything else from your camp?
I think not. I'm looking forward to the long weekend as well, the winery tour, and I'll be back after my hangover subsides.
There we go. You heard it here first. We're getting hungover Kristen soon. Stop the presses. We're getting hungover Chris. Usually it's hungover Chris. So we're flipping the script. So I'm thankful for that. In the meantime, everybody enjoy your week, and we'll see you right back here next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Pets add life.